your focus was all on the offensive side, which everyone that's talking about this trade is going to focus on. Wow, Giannis is going to have such an easy time on offense. Man, Damian Lillard playing in the East, he's going to score so much. Okay, but we got to talk defense because, and I know we focus only on offense because Damian Lillard really doesn't play defense.
Sure.
But this is going to be a massive drop off. And I know Drew Holiday, the last, year, maybe two, we've seen a little bit of a decline in his defensive ability, especially on the ball. But Damian Lillard is a massive downgrade from in an all-ball defensive role. He's going to have to play quite a bit on the ball, guarding ones. Giannis, the last couple of years, we've seen a downturn in his activity. So, and maybe that's a little bit of resting for the offensive end. We don't know. How's the defense going to look? Because the defense has really been the calling card of these Bucks teams. They've been, perennial top 5 defense. They obviously weren't as good last year. Brook Lopez, another year older. Are they going to be able to defend enough to potentially win a title? And I don't mean just get out of the East, but to potentially win a title. Will they have the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting question. And I think it was an interesting question before the season, but before this trade.
Right.
Like, when I was on the podcast with you, we were talking about, what kind of defense are they going to run? How are they going to do this? And I think that is an even more interesting question now, because I think in the Mike Budenholzer defense that have been set up over the years, you could say, all right, let's keep running guys off the line. Let's keep forcing them into the middle, and Giannis and Brook are going to clean everything up. And I think you could have gotten away with that. What Adrian Griffin has been talking about, and again, we haven't seen it on the floor yet. Games are still a couple weeks away. But what he's been talking about is a more aggressive defense, trying to create more turnovers. And if you're going to do that, you got to be bringing it on the wing. You got to be bringing it on ball. You got to be, willing to create some chaos with something aggressive on the perimeter, to mix up ball handlers, to try to get into passing lanes, to do something that's going to create turnovers, because the Budenholzer defense would not have done that. So I think the questions would have been big going from Drew to Dame no matter what. But I think it just multiplies to the questions that you already had about what the Bucks were going to do this time around, because I do think it is pretty difficult to see all of it and to think about, last year, Drew Holiday, while it didn't work out and I had proposed Giannis covering Jimmy Butler during that first round series, he was the one that had Jimmy Butler. At times he is the guy that had Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, whoever it is in the East. You have to defend some really talented wings and some talented guards. So you're gonna have to find your way through that. And I think it stresses Dame, obviously, at the point guard position. Teams are going to be, looking to target him. But at the same time, I would say this is going to be the healthiest defensive ecosystem that Dame has ever played in. I think maybe a couple of years Stotts had flirted with like a top 10, 15 defense somewhere in there, but that wasn't their calling card. They were just going to put up a bunch of points. So I would say this is the healthiest defensive ecosystem he's been a part of. But I do think you have to try to figure out how much does Chris Middleton have left on the wing defensively. That was something that, you could cover up when you had other guys. But now that he's had his knee surgery, is he back to being the guy that, if you think back to the championship run in 2021, he was the one that had Kevin Durant a lot in that second round series against the Nets. Like PJ Tucker did his thing, but they were closing games with Chris Middleton on Kevin Durant. Can Chris Middleton do that? Maybe if the offensive load isn't as heavy, like, if you can lean on Dame and you can lean on Giannis, then okay, maybe he can do a little bit more. And the same could be said of Giannis, right? Last year, Giannis had the highest usage of his career by a pretty substantial margin. And if you bring that down, you put the ball in Dame's hands a little bit more. Can he give a little bit more on defense? And these are all conversations that you're going to have as well, because, there's a certain thing that you get used to when you're the 2-time MVP, you're the best player on the team. Giannis is still the best player on the team. He's better than Damian Lillard.
Yes.
But, one player is very clearly someone that could be on ball all the time at point guard, have the ball in his hands for an entire offense possession. And the other guy is someone who clearly could do some things as a rim runner. Not that he hasn't done those things before. He did it a lot during the finals run. But if you're trying to figure out how to grab all the pulleys and levers and make an entire ecosystem work, both offensively and defensively, those are some of the things that you have to consider. So I do think you bring up a really good point with the defense. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how they try to get out of it, because they have been getting older. They made a real priority of trying to get younger. Like a guy like Marjon Beauchamp is younger. Malik Beasley is not insanely young, but he's only 26 years old. I think about to turn 27. Andre Jackson Jr.
He's going to get a real chance, by the way.
This year.
Malik Beasley is crucial, actually, to their
100%.
success.